My name is Jim Simpson. Welcome to my office. I'm a long-haul trucker. I've only been doing this for a little over 3 years. We'll get into a little bit of that. This video is not about trucking. It's about the Volkswagen dieselgate saga. Volkswagen sold passenger cars and I think one SUV or diesel in America that had software rigged to do one level of pollution output when it's under a test program at some kind of testing facility, and do something completely different when it was out on the road in customers' hands. And this has caused all kinds of problems and legal issues and etc. And we'll talk about how I got even slightly involved in this. This video is going out to lawyers who are either suing Volkswagen or federal prosecuting attorneys or any other prosecutor who's prosecuting them for criminal misbehavior, which I believe has now just happened. And this is going to be a crazy story because I think I've got part of the puzzle as to what Volkswagen was doing and why that nobody else has figured out. Volkswagen, if I'm reading everything correctly, all the information I've gathered, I've added it together, it comes up to Volkswagen gained financially in terms of increased repair costs, maintenance costs, and a huge cash cow into Volkswagen authorized dealers' pockets and Volkswagens over, well, you're not going to believe it, over fake piss. What? What did he just say? Did he just say fake piss? Yeah. Okay, let's back up and talk about the technology. Let's talk about how I got into this. I've been driving for just over 3 years, and in the next 2 to 6 months, I plan on buying my own truck. I'm leasing this one right now on a temporary basis. I'm an independent contractor for my company, making good money now, but once I own my own truck, I can make a lot more. I've been studying, of course, diesel emissions technology, which, as you're going to see, is the same between these big heavy trucks and these little Volkswagen 4-cylinder 2-liter passenger cars. Same technology. Before I was into trucking, I did a 20-year career as a computer tech, of one sort or another. A lot of years in IT, tech support, system administration, technical writing, etc. And if you haven't figured out anything else by now, you know that the Dieselgate saga is right at the intersection between computer tech issues and diesel technology issues. I mean, that happens to be my neighborhood right about now. So about 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine contacted me. He said he's got one of these cars and he's very upset about how the value of it is drastically reduced because of all the bad PR, and he's not sure if it's going to be long-term reliable, and he's not sure what this updated software is going to actually do to his car in terms of performance, fuel economy, reliability, that sort of thing, because obviously Volkswagen was forced to go back and revise the cars. And he wants a bunch of money back off of Volkswagen, and they're not answering him. So he asked me, what do I do? So I says, well, let me ask you some questions about this whole situation. Okay, for starters, how often do you put DEF in it? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, what do you mean, what am I talking about? How often do you put DEF in the tank, in the separate little tank, the artificial piss? He says, I have no idea what you mean. And that was my first clue something was wrong. Okay. DEF stands for diesel exhaust fluid. It is we call it artificial piss. It's technically called urea. It's an ammonia solution that is squirted into the exhaust stream in tiny amounts to cause nitrogen oxide, which is a known diesel pollutant, to break up into oxygen and nitrogen, which are both harmless. The oxygen actually turns rapidly into water. It mixes with some hydrogen, turns into water. So the final output's water and nitrogen, both harmless. I know all about this stuff because I buy it on a regular basis for my truck. This truck's a 2016. All these heavy trucks from 2010 forward have this extra little tank, about 20 gallons worth, that holds DEF, diesel exhaust fluid. All DEF is the same. There's no different brand names. You can get it from one source, you can get it from another, but it's all the same. I'm going to prove it to you by the time this video is out, and I hope to take no more than about 10 minutes. It turns out my first thought when I learned that my buddy didn't know what DEF was, I said, well, how are you adding DEF if you don't know what the stuff is? Well, he's been going to the dealer and paying massive prices for the stuff. $40 a gallon for DEF. Under the Volkswagen brand name of AdBlue. It comes in a half-gallon bottle with a special nozzle that fits the special little tank that's in the trunk, apparently, of a Volkswagen Passat. I don't know where they put it on the Touareg. I don't care. Whatever. So they've been charging authorized technician installation fees for this crap, and charging $20 for a half-gallon bottle. So that's $40 a gallon for this artificial pee. And yes, truckers sometimes ask, well, you know, I put out something similar to that all the time. I even got a nozzle, and trucking companies go, do not pee in the DEF tank. That doesn't actually work, okay? It's not actually pee, but it's chemically in the same ballpark, okay? What can you say? Weird. So, did some research online. Looked at some YouTube videos, looked at some manuals and technical specs, and my buddy's car, 2013 Passat with a TDI motor, does in fact take DEF. But what Volkswagen apparently did was rig the DEF installation rate, the time period in which you're supposed to add DEF, how many miles between DEF changes, to be ballpark exactly the same as the oil change interval, about 10,000 miles. And my thinking is they did that so that you brought your car in on a regular 10,000 mile maintenance interval, and they would charge you a couple $100 for the DEF and the installation along with the oil change and whatever. You ended up paying, I'm guessing the bill would have been in the $500-600 range, somewhere in there. That's with the oil change with synthetic oil. In order to get 10,000 miles, you'd need it. And they just buried the massive overcharging they were doing in with the regular oil change period. So if you're a lawyer suing Volkswagen or you're prosecuting them, you need to start looking for documents in which some weenie moron in management told the engineers, hey, we need the oil change interval and the DEF installation interval to be the same. Because if the DEF installation interval is shorter and people have got to go in just for that, and some idiot light comes up on the dashboard and says, service emissions system, or they have an idiot light like that on their dash. Service emissions. If that comes up and they go into a dealer and the dealer says, oh, I've got to do $200 worth of high-tech German magic to fix your car. Somebody thought, what exactly are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to put these bottles of special high-performance German magic blue fluid in your tank. Somebody might start asking questions and find out, well, I'll show you. Let's have that conversation. You're not going to believe this. You're really not going to believe this. By the way, you're going to see some funky camera angles because I don't want to show you the name of my company. I'm an independent contractor, and they don't need to be politically involved with this whole fiasco. Okay. So again, okay. Here's the side of my truck. I think you can see, see my hand? There we go. There's my diesel fill-up. Okay, 200 gallons of diesel total, 100 gallons on each side. So I got two nozzles. Now let's look forward a bit. Okay, you seeing this? See how that cap is blue? You're going to see the color blue a lot in this whole discussion, because that's where I fill the DEF. It says DEF on it. Okay? Now, all right. So we're walking away from my truck now. We're going to head over. Sorry, funky angles. My apologies. We're now going to head over to the pump. And I'm going to show you the actual value of these $20 half-gallon bottles of this magic fake pee. Oh, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. So this is the fuel aisles. That's a scale that truckers go through, weigh our trucks. So here's the nozzles. And we have an aisle that's unused. That's good. Perfect. No truck in there. Sit a hand drive. So here's how us truckers fuel up, right? And here's the DEF nozzle. As you can see, they usually have a blue handle. You can see this, there we go. Blue handle, this one's black. It's got a blue hose. And the diesel exhaust fluid area is blue. And let's look at that price. Y'all seeing this? $2.79 a gallon for the same crap. The Volkswagen charges $40 a gallon. Ain't that a scam? Ain't that a scam? It gets better, okay? If you don't want to drive your Volkswagen Passat in among these monsters, which you may not, you have an alternative. So we're going to go in the store for a second. And we're going to look at the other source of DEF. Okay? Let's continue this discussion just a minute. We got other trucks. If we look at the various trucks, all the ones from 2010 forward, which is most of the trucks here. Ah, there's one. There's one. This guy doesn't have skirts. Okay? So there, you see perfectly, there's his fuel tank, and there's his DEF tank. You can see it's much smaller. Right? Okay, so he's pumping DEF at the pump just like I do. Alright? Now, let's continue. We're going in the truck stop. We're not going to spend a lot of time in here, don't worry. Here, right near the doors, we got blue DEF. $7.99 plastic gallon jug. 1 gallon. Okay? Exactly the same crap as Volkswagen sells. You want to save some money? The Volkswagen Passat takes about 2.5 gallons of this crap. And here it is in 2.5 gallon bottles. And what do we got? $15.99. $15.99. This may be reversed on screen. Don't worry about it. So, I'm told that Walmart sells boxes exactly like this, same kind of thing, for 12 bucks. Okay, now, how did I find out about this? So I go on YouTube, and there's people saying, hey, Volkswagen's ripping us off, and people who own these cars, saying you can fill this stuff yourself at a tiny fraction of the price. And what they're doing is they're buying one jug for the whole lifetime of the car of the Volkswagen brand crap. Fill that, half gallon, okay, done. Cut the base off, and now you have a funnel because the business end of the bottle perfectly matches the Volkswagen nozzle. Okay, what does all this mean? Well, Volkswagen, from the references I can find, charges the dealer $6-7 a half gallon for this stuff, which is still far more expensive than that. In fact, I would be willing to bet if you dumpster dive some Volkswagen dealers, you would find Walmart bottles of DEF in the back that they were charging $40 a gallon for, but actually using Walmart stuff. And that would not actually harm the customer's car. It is the same crap. So, if you're a lawyer in these cases, what do you do next? Well, first, confirm what I'm saying by calling up a Volkswagen dealer, find out the price of DEF, find out what's going on. Now, after the dieselgate thing went down, it's possible that they reduced the price of DEF. One of the references I found in one of the videos made by a Passat owner, I'll post in a link below, he says that after the software update, the amount of DEF his car was using went up. That was one of my first clues as to exactly how they pulled this scam. Okay? So I'm going to post a link to that below. Find out what the actual DEF interval is before and after the software update. Find out if they're still recommending 10,000 miles. They DEF changes. They might not. And they might have had to blow this whole scam up. That'd be interesting. Find out if there's any internal memos from Volkswagen management telling the engineers, hey, make sure that the DEF installation at quart in a jug interval matches the oil change interval. Okay? I'll bet you'll find something like that. Bet you anything. And if you do, look at the date on it and compare that to the date when the physical layout of the DEF tank was set in stone during the development of the car. In other words, at some point they decided to put in a DEF tank of a certain size. I think it's 2.5 gallon, but don't quote me on that. That's an unreliable source. Check for real, okay? But my guess is they made the decision to match up the DEF usage with the oil change interval after the mechanical layout of the car was done, so they couldn't put in they could not put in a bigger DEF tank. So how do you extend the DEF change intervals? You rig the software, that's how. So if I'm right, there was a profit motive, and a very underhanded one, was involved in how they rigged this software. Am I right or not? I'm not sure. Does this make a legal difference? Not sure. But it might. It might. And if you find this information interesting, I'm going to leave my email address down below in the YouTube description of the video. Drop me a line if you have any other questions. I'm probably not going to qualify as an expert witness or something. If you're a lawyer dealing with this and you find this information of use, kick me a tip. I mean, if there are quite a few honest lawyers out there, maybe y'all each kick me in just a little bit. I can buy a $15,000 old used truck and make a ton of money out here in it. I'd love that. Is it likely? No, of course not. But a guy can dream, right? So I'm signing off, and I think we're under 15 minutes on this, right? Well, it's about to hit 17 minutes. Okay. I hope this information has been interesting. Got a truck passing. No DEF tank on his older truck. Talk to you later.